Okay, this video is a book review. This is the book I read here, Zen Macrobiotics by George Oshawa. This is George Oshawa. He's a guy from Japan. This is sort of the westernized version of his name that he writes under. The subtitle is The Art of Rejuvenation and Longevity. And this is like the 5th edition, complete, unabridged, with some, a little bit of annotations to it. And here's the basic take on this guy. He grew up in Japan, and he felt his parents suffered from Western dietary lifestyle habits. He felt his siblings suffered from it, and some of them died because of Western diet and lifestyle stuff. So he's pissed off about that. He got tuberculosis. Western medicine could not help him at that time. And he then was able to, he went into remission. He was essentially cured, and he felt it was due to Eastern Oriental Zen-like medicine, okay? And he also felt, was eating the whole grains and the vegetables. And he's right about that. So that's his big contribution, that he's right that eating whole grains and vegetables makes people healthy. And that's really the great big thing that he did, okay? But I'm also going to say there's a lot of stuff about him that are not that impressive, okay? So here's a little bit of an idea about it. I'll show you some more in just a moment, but it's going to be about 55% whole grains. You can throw in some soups, a lot of vegetables, very little fruits. You don't even see anything for fruits in here. He kind of has this weird dislike of fruit. He even says people who are sick should never eat fruit. That's kind of a strange thing to say. And he really minimizes drinking. He's sort of against hydration, which I think is a mistake, because being hydrated makes your blood less thrombotic, okay? That's a good thing, okay? Your brain works a little better when you're adequately hydrated. Here's a general idea of his food pyramid. And so again, what's good about it? Whole grains. This is like McDougall would say whole grains are great. And by that he means, old-fashioned bread, whole grain bread, pasta, noodles, millet, things like that. He does encourage people to eat a lot of beans, which I think it's reasonable to eat beans. You don't want to overdo it, but it's reasonable. Beans are good. I eat some beans every day. Vegetables. He has them eat lots and lots of vegetables. So about 55 to 60% as much whole grains, in the ballpark, 25% vegetables on top of that. But where does he screw up? He screws up big time with oil. He was saying it's fine to, eat food fried in oil every day. That's a really stupid thing to say. It's completely untrue. And he would allow a little bit of fish, seafood, dairy, nuts, and other meats. But this is where I kind of realize he doesn't know what he's talking about. He knows that whole grains and vegetables make people healthy, and he sticks to that, and it's good that he sticks to that. But once he gets beyond that, he has no understanding of physiology, pathophysiology. He doesn't know nutrition. He really doesn't know what he's talking about. And then he goes into all this. I'll basically show you here the pros and the cons of the book. Okay, so what's good about it? He means well. He's pissed off his parents and his siblings got sick, and he was happy he got better, and he knew that whole grains and vegetables are what saves people. And he's actually right about that. Those are great things to make a person healthy. He recommends eat organic, avoid stuff that's got stuff sprayed on it, eat stuff that's grown locally so you don't have all the preservatives in it, eat stuff when it's in season. It's all good. Minimize animal foods, no coffee. Okay, that's all good. But where he said things that I think were wrong, he said don't drink anything. He felt you get so much water from these plant foods you don't need to drink any water at all. I think, or even just a tiny bit. I think that's a mistake. You don't need to drink a lot. You don't need 8 cups a day, but you should be able to drink water whenever you want to. Lots of oil, tons of restaurants. There's at least 40 recipes in this book that recommend frying stuff in oil, which I thought was incredibly stupid. It shows that he doesn't know what he's talking about. He says to avoid potatoes. He's very anti-potato. He really doesn't like fruits. Okay, and then he gets into, he sort of likes this Zen Buddhism stuff. And I'm telling you, Buddha's not a god. Confucius is not a god. I think these Eastern philosophies, they're philosophies. These are not religions. And they start cycling into all this nonsense. I am one with the universe. All creatures are one with the universe. What the heck does that mean, okay? Where's the benefit in saying that, okay? It's sort of pantheistic, atheistic nonsense, okay? And it's because they don't have Christianity. They don't have a coherent view of the universe and philosophy. They really don't. Multiculturalism is nonsense. Christianity is the best religion. There's nothing even close. What else does he say? He says, he never talks about any significant comments about physiology or pathophysiology. He has no understanding of it, no understanding of biochemistry, molecular biology, none of that. And I realize, he was writing these things starting back in the mid-1900s and then going up into the 1960s and stuff. So and there wasn't anything as much known like there is now, but still he has no sense in nutrition research at all. And I've also noticed something too. You sometimes see this in East Asians. That means people from China, Korea, Japan. They have super high SAT scores. Fantastic, okay? Part of that's selection of the ones that make it to the USA are the ones that are highly motivated, wealthy, and very strong in education. So that's not the entire population. It's a selected group of high top achievers, okay? But it's also a cultural thing. Like I read the book by Amy Chua, and it was a very good book called Tiger Mom, okay? Tiger Mother. And it was a great book. And what she basically said, these Chinese families, they have that kid doing mathematics, Kid does a bunch of math problems. Like the kid wants to ride to his friend's house, so they'll all do these math problems first. So they're very good at math. They crush the SATs. I remember I had an Asian lady friend, and she said her daughter got a perfect score on math SATs. I got a 770, by the way. I didn't get a perfect score in math, okay, on SATs. But anyway, she goes, her daughter had a perfect score. I go, well, she must be really smart. She goes, oh, no, she's not smart. I go, what do you mean she's not smart? And she said, she's on the math team. She does math problems every day. She's been doing math problems every day since she was little. Okay, well, she's good at it. Okay. And math, of course, is great for going into engineering fields, technical fields, some computer design fields, some advanced surgical fields, but they don't tend to be as good at verbal skills. And that's partly because they're kind of quiet. Like I have a really smart Japanese neuroradiology friend, okay? And I'll talk to him about really complex cases, and he's really good. He knows some stuff I don't know, okay? He's really good, and I know a lot for my field, all right? And I will be happy to get his opinion on tough cases. But anyways, he says to me, he says, I like the way you joke. He says, my country, my family, we don't joke. I go, what do you mean you don't joke? He goes, we just don't joke. I go, what do you mean you don't joke? And he says, you use all these little phrases, idioms. He says, we don't do that. He says, but they're funny, they're entertaining. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's just part of conversation for me. I'm always joking whenever I can. Anyways, and you notice Japan, Japan has a lot better behavior than the United States. It's kind of a mono-ethnic culture, and in a mono-ethnic culture, people have more loyalty to each other. When they say diversity is our strength, what that means is the billionaire perverts want as much diversity as possible and disunity amongst the population as possible. Well, anyways, what I'm trying to say is in Japan, you can send, a 10-year-old kid to take the subway at 2 o'clock in the morning in a big city, and the kid will be fine. The people are well behaved. They have almost zero crime, and they're nice to each other. You can't do that in the USA. But on the other hand, you go to China, and they brutalize their own people. Okay, so, I don't know, this conformity, I don't know. There's something a little weird about there. So you see tons of the USA math team, it's often half or more East Asian. So East Asian means China, Korea, Japan. They're magnificent at math, okay? But you almost never see a really good comedian, lawyer, or writer that's East Asian. You almost never do. And like I said, it might be because of their reserved, quiet personality, but you just don't hear them with the big verbal wizardry. You just don't see that. Let's see. So anyways, getting back to the book. So he makes a point. Eat lots of whole grains, a moderate amount of beans, lots of vegetables, and most people will make a tremendous improvement in their health, okay? Dr. Greger, I previously made an earlier video about the macrobiotic diet, and Dr. Greger made some good videos about, sort of optimized versions of the macrobiotic diet that got really good results for treating people with diabetes. Some of the whole grains can include brown rice, wheat, millet, buckwheat, barley, rye, oats, carrots, pasta. So if you wanted those Greger videos on macrobiotic diet, I think are pretty good. But like I said, I sort of see him as a precursor to the McDougall diet. McDougall went way beyond him, okay? Kempner was way beyond him as well. Kempner cured all this stuff, and Kempner knew pretty well what he was talking about. He trained with Otto Warburg, And he did a lot of research in kidneys, and he specifically designed his diet exactly to do what he wanted, and he got the big results. Basically, Kempner showed you can cure everybody just about with these chronic diseases. You can cure most of them. You can't cure everybody. You can't reverse all these kidney failure patients. McDougall showed how to make it pleasant and sustainable with the starch diet and showed the epidemiology all over the world it works. And he figured out a lot of the basic pathophysiology, blood sludge. He got that. Autoimmune disease due to molecular mimicry or the autoantibody cross-reactivity. Okay, and then I've taken it a lot further with all the biochemistry, molecular biology and stuff. Understanding it at a biochemical level, reversal of these basic diseases. But anyways, so the macrobiotic diet, I don't really think it's worth the time to read it, but the idea is just one more confirmation that he did have tons of patients who improved by eating all those whole grains and vegetables and beans. So anyways, hope you found that helpful.